I'm telling you, something's wrong with my eyes. Andrew was outside playing football with the neighborhood kids, and he came running in the house crying hysterically. What's wrong? I said. He said, Mom, I was outside and Noah, he went to throw the pass and I went out to catch it, and then everything got dark and I didn't see the electrical box and I flipped over it. Over the past year, he had been complaining of headaches and problems with his eyes and things that weren't rectified by his eyeglass prescriptions. So I decided to get him into the pediatrician first thing on Monday morning. She said, this sounds a lot like migraines. And I said, no, I know a lot of people with migraines, and he doesn't seem to ever talk about the light sensitivity. He doesn't get the nausea. So she orders an MRI. Well, fast forward, it's Tuesday night and I'm sitting at home. It's March Madness. I'm in basketball, so my world right now is crazy. I've got to get to the Big Ten Network in Chicago. So I'm sitting there in my room studying all these teams, and all of a sudden I heard this voice, and it was really deep. It said, write this down. And then I began to write with a fever and a muse and a passion I had never experienced before. Out of me in about 40 minutes came this entire story about this woman who was hanging out with these two knuckleheaded friends, one named Worry, one named Doubt. And as long as she was hanging out with those two friends, her whole world fell apart. So one day she passed out, and when she woke back up, there was this new friend named Faith. And when she started hanging out with Faith, her entire life improved. I ran into the living room and I said, Andrew, you've got to listen to this. And I read him the poem. He said, Mom, this is a great inspiration. You should make it into your next book. And indeed I did, spoiler alert. But there were some things that I had to learn first. You see, my life had been built on passion, and I learned that passion alone wasn't enough. Because on Wednesday morning it was time to take Andrew in for that MRI. 2 hours after that MRI, I ended up getting a phone call, come in. And the doctor stared at me and with tears in her eyes, and she said, Andrew has a very large brain tumor. He's in an emergency situation. We'll have to get it out immediately. Flagrant foul. The next thing I knew, I was standing in front of some neurosurgeon who was telling me there's a good chance that your son may die, but we're going to do everything we can to save his life. And even if we save his life, there's a good chance that he'll be blind, but we're going to do everything we can to protect his sight. Huge, flagrant foul. I have no idea how I'm supposed to deal with this, not on my own, but now I have to go and I've got to explain it to my 12-year-old biscuit-loving son. And suddenly, as I'm driving furiously down the highway, not knowing what to do, the tagline to that poem popped up: stop hanging out with worry and doubt and make faith your new best friend. And right then I knew that I was given a vision miraculously placed inside of me to know how to lead my son to the next step. When he came home from school, I said, Andrew, you remember the story I wrote last night? He said, yeah, Mom, the one about faith. Did you call the publisher? I said, not yet. You see, that story's not meant for everyone else yet. That's a book for you and me right now. It's you and me that have to stop hanging out with worry and doubt and make faith our new best friend. Surgery day. And there Andrew is, still trying to muster a smile. For 6 hours we prayed, and as faith grew, the craniopharyngioma did indeed disappear. The surgeon said they had got it all. It was the happiest 10 seconds of my life. That was the win. My son was alive, but the foul was Andrew was blind. And at that moment, I realized I was blind too, because I had no clue what to do to help Drew. The only thing worse than losing your sight or as being blind is having sight but no vision. Helen Keller said that. And at that moment, I remembered that quote. And that moment, I started learning a lot of life and leadership lessons. The first one was no peripheral distractions. You see, one day we held on to faith, and Andrew woke up and he could see just a little bit of light. And the way he still sees, he's blind in his right eye and he's blind in the left peripheral. He sees as if looking through a little straw. So I said, Andrew, yes, you see through this little cone, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. No peripheral could be a great thing. You have a built-in mechanism to just focus on the goal straight ahead, because over here is worry and over here is doubt. So lesson 2, just focus on the goal and keep moving straight ahead, one step at a time. Focus on the goal. Andrew wasn't hearing it. He said, that sounds all fine, but you're not the 7th grader that gets bullied and picked on when you go to school. You're not the 7th grader who has headaches and stays in and out of the hospital and bumps into things everywhere you go. And then he would cry and cry and cry, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I'm just going to be honest. I snapped. I said, I can't take it anymore. He was so depressed all the time, crying all day, every day. This was hard. And I said, you can't live your life this way. That winner's mentality kicked in. And I said, you're not going to do this. Stop it. So I put him on a plane and I put him on a train and I took him to the most congested place I could find, downtown New York City, Manhattan. So I put him on that plane and he stepped off and he looked at all those people going left and right and he began to cry. I don't want to. I said, stop it, Andrew. What if I bump into people? I said, you listen to me. You're going to get that cane. You're going to look straight ahead. You're going to follow behind me. And if people get in your way, you take that cane and you just swing it like this, Andrew. Just go. Just go. Keep on moving. Hurry up. Sometimes we have to face our fears. He did it. The next thing we learn, sometimes true strength means asking for help. You see, most of us are very, very proud. When pride says do it yourself, but wisdom says find someone who knows. Listen to your wisdom. You're going to be very, very proud that you did. We found the Florida School for the Deaf and the Blind, where Andrew went on in just that 1 year, he became valedictorian of his 8th grade class. The fourth thing, don't let things you can't do overshadow the things you can. In your business world, in your personal world, you will find people constantly saying you can't. The magic words always for winner's mentality is I can. Don't let those things discourage you. They said you can't play football, you can't play basketball. I said, surely there's something you can play, Andrew. He went on and he found goalball. It's a Paralympic sport for the blind. You can. Number 5, trust that eventually you'll learn to survive your new normal. This is a big one, folks, because we're in a world that is constantly changing. Change is often difficult. It's also inevitable. You have to trust that you're going to survive it. After all, every day is a new day, and you're still here, right? Most of you. Lesson number 6, one thing worse than losing your sight truly is losing your vision, and this was the big lesson. You see, sight to me is physical. It's the here and now. Vision is spiritual. Sight is perception of your present. Vision is faith in your future. And the last lesson, you are significant. We're living in a political time where everybody wants to matter. It's just a core part of who we are. So passionately play your position no matter how bad things get. Passionately play your position. You are significant. Ultimately, we're here to lead and to serve everybody else. By doing that, we encourage others to do the same. Andrew went on. He is now in his first semester after he didn't even want to go to school. He is now a freshman at Florida State University, struggling like everybody else. The weird thing, his interest is now helping others with disabilities. You see how those fouls in your life, if you just trust the vision, will come back in and it will lead you directly to your purpose. That's how we all win.